All right, so you're looking into Australian real estate, huh? Well, let's dive into that.
Yeah.
We've got this podcast here, Aussie Real Estate Riches, they call it.
Okay.
This first episode, they're making a pretty strong argument. You know, Australia, that's the place to be if you want to make some real money in property.
Interesting.
They're talking about stability, big potential rewards, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that tracks, right? Most investors are looking for that stable ground to build on.
Right. And they jump right into it. No beating around the bush.
Oh, yeah. What do they start with?
The why.
Okay.
Like, why Australia?
Yeah.
Out of all the places in the world you could put your money.
Got to start somewhere.
Exactly. So they talk about how much the Australian market has grown in the last decade. It's impressive, you know?
Yeah.
Anyone looking to invest wants to see that their money's going somewhere that's on the up and up.
Absolutely. That steady growth is a big green flag. It tells you there's something solid going on, not just a flash in the pan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they point to a couple of big reasons for that growth.
Okay, I'm curious.
Number one, high demand.
The classic.
More people wanting to buy than there are properties available.
They'll push prices up for sure.
You got it.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the government's got some policies that seem to be really pro-real estate, like they want people to invest.
Interesting. So they're laying the groundwork. Australia's got a hot market, it's got staying power, and the government's on board.
Yep. And then they get into the good stuff, the benefits for investors.
All right, lay it on me.
They talk about high rental yields, so you can make money while you own the property. Long-term appreciation, so your investment keeps growing over time.
Makes sense.
And then they even mention some tax breaks. Makes it even sweeter, right?
Oh, yeah, tax incentives. Those are always music to an investor's ears.
Exactly. So they're painting this picture of a market that's full of opportunity.
Yeah, it's smart to start by painting that big picture.
Oh, yeah. But then they get into specifics.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What kind of details are they talking about?
So they talk about those rental yields, specifically in Sydney and Melbourne. Big cities, right?
Yep, prime real estate.
But here's the thing. They say in some suburbs of Melbourne, you can get yields of around 4%.
Whoa, 4%. That's pretty impressive for a major city.
Right. And for someone who's new to this whole thing, that might not mean much.
Yeah, it's a number.
It's a number. But think of it this way. It's basically the money you make each year from rent compared to how much you paid for the property.
Okay, yeah. So like if you bought a place for, say, $500,000 and you're getting a 4% yield, that's $20,000 a year in rent.
Exactly. Your property is basically working for you, making you money.
Passive income, the dream.
Right. And a 4% yield in a place like Melbourne means there are a lot of people looking to rent.
Yeah, strong demand. That's key for consistent income.
And that brings us to their next point, vacancy rates.
Okay, what about them?
Well, Australia has super low vacancy rates, especially in those really desirable areas.
Like where? Give me some examples.
Like think inner city suburbs in those big cities.
Yeah.
Or like lifestyle places, you know, the Gold Coast, stuff like that.
Yeah. The Gold Coast. Sun, surf, and high rental demand.
Exactly. And low vacancy means people are basically lining up to rent these places.
That's got to be reassuring for an investor.
Right. You buy a property, you pretty much know it's going to be rented out.
Keeps that money coming in.
Exactly. It all comes back to supply and demand. More demand, less supply, good for the owner.
Makes sense.
Now, they also talk about taxes, which, let's face it, can be a bit of a headache.
Taxes, the necessary evil.
Right. But they keep it pretty straightforward. They talk about this thing called negative gearing.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's basically a way to, like, offset the costs of owning a rental property.
Against your other income, right. So you end up paying less tax overall.
Yeah, that's the gist. It can save you a decent chunk of change.
That's definitely a big perk of the Australian market. It's designed to attract investors, and it seems to be working.
Right. Then they mention capital gains tax discounts, too.
Ooh, tell me more about those.
So basically, if you hold on to a property for more than a year and then sell it for a profit.
You get a discount on the tax you owe on that profit.
Right, exactly. So it's like a reward for being a long-term investor.
Smart. Encourages stability in the market.
Yep. They even talk about a program for first-time home buyers, the First Homeowner Grant.
I've heard of that one. It gives you some cash to help you buy your first place.
Right. So they're showcasing all these policies that make Australia look super investor-friendly.
Yeah, they're painting a rosy picture. But as with any investment, there's got to be another side to the coin.
Oh, absolutely. And they don't really get into that.
So the potential downsides, the risks, those are things anyone thinking about investing needs to dig into.
Exactly. What are those hidden costs? What challenges are unique to Australia? You got to do your research.
I couldn't agree more. Due diligence is key.
Right. Don't just jump in because it sounds good.
Right.
Look at everything. Weigh the pros and cons, make sure it aligns with your goals.
Solid advice.
So yeah, there you have it. Little taste of what the Australian real estate market's all about.
A good starting point.
Exactly. Now it's up to you to take it from here. Keep learning, keep exploring, and see if Australia is the right place for your investment journey.